So I want to make this video about this kind of bizarre problem I've been having with the lights on my DeLorean. Basically, I was a little hasty the other day, and I got out of my car too quickly, and my knee bumped this guy right here. And what happened was I didn't think anything was wrong, but it kind of clicked, like it kind of felt like it broke. But I was like, well, it still seems to work and all that when I got in the car. But, so I got out and I did whatever I was doing. And then I looked at the front of the car and I realized the high beams were on. And I was like, what's going on here? So basically it turns out, I got in the car and I looked at it. Turns out this, instead of clicking back and forth to, turn on your high beams, it just got broken. So, it just kind of wiggles back and forth. And the unfortunate thing is if I just leave it go, you kind of hear it click there, the relay clicking on and off, which means that my car's high beams turn on randomly if that happens to be in the wrong place, which is not good. So basically what I ended up doing was I already had the the plastic casing off the steering wheel here, obviously. What I ended up doing was actually just jamming a little piece of paper in between the plastic and this little switch, kind of like this, so that it would stop going forward this way and turning on the high beams. So as long as it's like that, it's fine. The reason for all this is that this little tiny plastic piece broke off. It broke off this other plastic piece that is the same color. Now, I'm pretty sure that the part that it broke off of is inside, because I can't see a place on the outside to glue it back on. So I was like, oh, that's not a big problem. I'll just, take it apart and glue it back on where it's supposed to go, and it'll be all fine. I won't have to, buy a whole new part for just a little tiny thing like that. But it turns out that this thing is really in here. Like, there may be a better way to get this out, but it looks like the whole steering wheel has to come off, and then I have to pull this out this way off the shaft of the steering wheel, which is not a huge deal, but just a little more involved than I expected. And the funny thing is, it looks like this plastic piece here, I was hoping this would just come off and this metal piece would stay. But this plastic piece looks like it's bolted to the metal here at the bottom and the top, and I'm pretty sure that's how it's held on to this metal piece, which again has to come off of the shaft. So my plan is to take off the steering wheel and to pull this whole thing off. I don't even know how it's going to work with all these wires. I have to kind of figure out what's going on there, if those will not let me pull it off or whatever, but I figure if I get the steering wheel off and loosen this up, at least maybe I can see inside and see what's going on. But the funny thing is, these two little screws, top and bottom, there's this rather striking warning on the metal that says, do not remove two screws, and it points to them. So I'm not sure what the intent of that is. I know sometimes there's warning signs for things that aren't really a big deal, but this is a DeLorean and I don't want to break it, so I'm going to have to do a little research and kind of be careful, I suppose. But anyways, that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm going to try to take this whole thing apart and glue this thing back on, because otherwise my high beams like to stay on. So I considered taking out the relay, but it was on the spur of the moment, and I really couldn't find which relay it was when I kind of broke this to begin with, so I just used the paper. Another kind of nuance about this, which is not fun, is even for regular use, the headlights, if I turn these on, basically the way I had it set up, so you see there the regular headlights are on. Now the way I had it set up with this little piece of paper that kind of, pushed the whole thing forward a whole bunch just so it wouldn't definitely, click back and turn on like that. I had it pushed, basically the only way I can lodge that piece of paper in there was So this thing went really far forward and turned on the headlamp, you know, the high beams. So I found the other day, I was like, well, you know, I had this piece of paper in there and the high beams weren't on and it's getting kind of dark, and I was like, okay, you know, I'll turn on the regular headlamps just so I can see outside and all that. And when I did that, I kind of found out that, you know, the way I had that piece of paper in there, it was either going to have the high beams on or nothing. So that was not really good, and I'm glad I went to work, or went home from work early, because if it would have been dark, I would have been flashing everyone with high beams all the way home. So anyway, I'm hoping I can put that plastic piece on there without too much problems, because that's not fun. So anyway.